Okay, so I'll be talking about the bystander effect and the impacts in factors. So the bystander effect is doesn't allow people to take quick actions in the belief that someone else will step in and help. This effect increases when there is a crowd and there is a large amount of danger. This is a problem because everyone in the crowd thinks that same as you that someone else will help the person in danger, also ultimately providing no solution to the threat. Okay, social media. In March 13, 1964, the murder of Kitty Genovese in 1964, New York specifically, a 28-year-old woman was killed and raped and stabbed multiple times outside her apartment. Um, this made USA's Department of Psychology interest, bearing in mind that there was 38 witnesses who have heard her yells for help, but nobody did anything. Which this whole thing was about 3 to 5 hours, so there was a lot of time for someone to step in. Ooh, um, until her death. And this inspired the theory of the bystander effect. The bystander effect is only talked about in classrooms, who specifically in classrooms that are studying psychology. It's not a general education, which means that not a lot of people are know about this or able to do anything. Social media has been called the filter bubble, and it filters what an individual wants to see. So basically, if you want to see only cats, then and social media understands that you only want to see cats, so it only gives you cats. So if someone if someone leans more into something, um, they won't be well rounded. They'll be more specific towards that one side, um, and they're and then they create a bias, and then it with that filter bubble, it gets reinforced with every news that's coming out with it. There have been many cases where people watch the news and agree with the outcome of a trial, release a murder because of the unreasonable empathy when they should be facing critical thinking about the righteousness of that result, as well as empathy for the victims, not the criminal. This is even more serious with cases like Casey Anthony, who was the mother of a 4-year-old child, and there was considerable amounts of evidence that she was the killer of her own child, but was released. Or Kyle Rittenhouse. So, as a student, I can learn as much as I can about the topic of the bystander effect and be able to address it with a solution to the problem that can be dealt with in everyday occurrences. College students should be concerned about this problem because with the heightened freedom we gained as young adults, we are more susceptible to danger, and we wouldn't want people to ignore us when we need help, mostly when the average person walks past 36 crimes in their lifetime, um, said Kin in 2018. My major is communication and organizations, with courses like argumentation, critical thinking, interpersonal communication, small group communication, general communication, and conflict management. With all of those, I could find ways to ease people into confronting difficult situations. I would like to see the death rates surrounding. Okay, so impacts. The people that are most going to be impacted would be the city folks, because in the city it is, as we know, it's more crowded, and bystander effect would have more of an effect in crowded places. Other places would be the police department, um, because they're the ones that are mostly dealing with dangerous situations and solving cases that endanger people's lives. Companies also want risk takers, which is a different type of sense than the physical danger. Their type of danger would be having to do with financial problems, as well as in order to perform better than their competitors. Young adults and the elderly begin to make biases, as well as make um, more importantly, such things like voting, justice, and education systems more difficult to address because of the beliefs that they built up, such as in the filter bubble that I talked about earlier. Two organizations that can help with these issues are NAMI and STARS. NAMI is a crisis intervention team that advocates for mental illnesses affecting people in their day-to-day lives. Often the police are called in and asked to calm down a member of the family who has mental illness and is not able to do so because they lack training in how to handle such situations and therefore end up potentially killing them, which is the opposite of what they wanted, and being blamed for it. NAMI trains people to help better prepare for a crisis intervention by collaborating and spreading as much as they can through America. STARS is an organization that helps survivors counsel and give advisory services as well as train and educate people about rape and sexual abuse trauma. People Their mission is to prevent victims blaming and for friends, families, or acquaintances to be empathetic instead. STARS strive to improve people's well-being, and one way they're trying to do that is by explaining the types of responses that people can take during dangerous situations like bond, freeze, flight, and those type of things. This way, the feeling of fear or inadequacy does not stop them from being good citizens. Society emphasizes compassion and empathy. Not being able to protect people might lower one's self-esteem and to make them regretful, overall having negative effects in their mental health, which is why it is necessary for people to adapt to such circumstances. And this is why I said that being supported by attending workshops or exercising conflict management or at least taking self-defense classes would be helpful for